Blackwood by Fiona Howell, Chapter 1. The year was 1945, just after the war. At that point in my life, I had seen some of the worst evils and the most horrific scenes that battle could bring, but I did not believe in ghosts. At least, I didn't before I came to live at Blackwood Manor. I was sent by my mother to look after Uncle Charles and my 10-year-old cousin William. Uncle Charles had recently been diagnosed with colon cancer, and it had slowly been eating away at him. There was no cure, and my job was to keep him comfortable until the end. William would be left alone in the world when Uncle passed. His only living relatives, my mother and I. He needed proper care. I arrived at Blackwood Manor during a cold, dark Yorkshire fall night. The weather was typical for England, and I had come to like the rain more than I had expected. I found it comforting. When it rained during the war, there were fewer battles and skirmishes, which meant a break from treating the injured. A normal person would have said they hated the rain. I was certainly not a completely normal English person. I had just finished my service as a military nurse. After years mending wounds and setting bones, I was ready to be done with the war and never look back. My heart ached as I tried to rid myself of the memories. The things I had seen were not fit to speak of. The car bumped down the road, drawing ever closer to Blackwood. We were in the woods. The thick branches overhead made it appear darker than it should. They cast a large shadow over the road. I breathed in the sweet scent of the pine trees. Raindrops pinged off the windshield, sliding down the windows. I stuffed my hands in my pockets of my coat for warmth, happy to finally wear something other than my nurse's uniform. England still did not seem used to peace. It would take more than a few months to go back to normal. I looked forward to my new position at Blackwood Manor. Though Mother had been sent away as a babe and never truly lived at the manor, it was still my family homestead. Hope filled me. There would be no more screaming and no more blood or gore to reach for me in my dreams. I stretched my neck, looking out the window so I could catch a glimpse of the house as I arrived. I squinted through the rain. Blackwood Manor. It was magnificent. I let out a sigh. The ancient house had multiple towers with turrets reaching up to the clouds. It was like a castle from a fairy tale. The widow's walk rested high against the roof. The house loomed in the darkening sky. Its stone was as gray as a storm cloud. On one side, ivy stretched to the roof. Mother had told me Uncle Charles did not like company, even family. It was why we had never been acquainted. I wasn't worried about my uncle and his sickness or his eccentric ways. I had seen and treated worse ailments. My concern was more with how to keep William occupied. I was no teacher unless he was interested in medicine. He was still a child, and I hoped he had a tutor of some sort. If he had not already secured someone for his schooling, I was not sure if it would be possible to find one. The war had changed so much for us. There were so many positions to be filled, and so few left to fill them. London itself was still rebuilding. Uncle Charles could keep his peace and quiet, and I would fill my time with William. I could not fault Uncle Charles for wanting a calm house. I think we all needed it sometimes. The quiet of a large manor was why I had accepted the position in the first place. Blackwood was deep in the Yorkshire countryside, tucked far away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Perhaps this new position would save me from my nightmares. I had talked to someone about them, but that had not helped in the slightest. I was not the only one who suffered, even though the war was over. The ghosts still lingered behind the eyes of every soldier who managed to make it home. At least taking care of a child would bring some joy. A child's happiness was so simple. It was a true marvel. If only we could all be children again. I arrived at the grand entryway. The large courtyard crunched underneath my feet as I stepped out. The driver opened my door for me and held an umbrella at the ready. The cool breeze brushed my ankles, giving me a chill. The driver lifted my bag out of the back of the car. "Thank you." I took the bag from his hand, giving him the money I had pulled from my handbag. We walked together toward the entrance as I looked up at the house looming above me. I sucked in a breath and let it out quickly. I would not be intimidated. I had survived the war. I would survive this too. Oh, how little I knew then.